Hi, you're very welcome to Aduco Gym Online, and it's Thursday evening, so it must be relaxation with Tom McKenna. And I am Jamie Myersco from Aduco Gym, and thank you very much for joining us. We've got a great evening in store for you. So I'll bring in Tom. Tom, thanks so much for joining us again. How are you?
No problem. Hi, everybody. How are you all doing? Good
Good,
to see
great.
you.
I am great. Honestly, I look forward to this, especially when you've just put two crazy children to bed, two young toddlers. Then so the thought of doing relaxation is very welcome. So we were talking just beforehand that we want to maybe bring people's understanding a little bit further along in relation to the relaxation and the mechanism behind it and why somebody should spend time doing relaxation. And obviously, we recommend that people do it on a regular basis so that they've got this class, but then they can listen to it on repeat. They can revisit it again on the Facebook page. So, Tom, maybe I'll leave it to you then to expand further on what we've covered so far in the first two events.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no problem. Okay. Well, look, obviously we've just started back on this second session of relaxation, and what we're doing is we're largely kind of allowing newer people to come on board, so that if they haven't been familiar with the process up till now, we can take them along a bit more gently and not just kind of throw them in at the deep end, where quite a few people who look at the videos are familiar with the relaxation. They are familiar with the way it actually works and so on, and would to be honest with you, have a background in it. Now, after that, then, after you've talked to people like that, the rest of maybe possibly people looking in don't have a background in this, and maybe the only background they have is in stress. So I guess what they're going to be trying to do is to use the understanding of relaxation and the actual relaxation session itself to deal with some of that stress. So last week and the week before, we talked a bit about the idea that your mindset and the programs that you actually hold in your mind, they basically create a form of stress. And if you are if you were basically trying to um, say do something work wise or pay attention to your family, or if you are, say, going in and you're training in the gym, the biggest obstacle to getting a successful outcome is the fact that you may not be able to pay attention or focus enough on what's happening because you've got distractions. And the distractions basically are the type of thoughts in your mind that create stress. And they distract you from what you're actually trying to do. Now, when when you do the relaxation, what you're doing basically is, as you would if you're training in the gym, you're learning how to pay attention to the muscle group that you're actually working, to the exclusion of everything else. Okay. So the idea behind that basically then is that if you're training in the gym and you pay attention to the muscle you're working, to the exclusion of everything else, the stress that normally prevents the attention to be focused on that muscle is released. And as you release that and you start to train, you will find that the, the, the focus on the muscle releases an energy into the muscle that's normally suppressed by any forms of stress. So you actually suppress your normal ability to energize the body. So when you do the concentration or focus in the gym and you focus just on the muscle you're working, there's a sudden flow of energy into the muscle. And what you'll notice with that is that it is much easier to train at that stage and to lift the weight. In fact, what people find is that this sudden increase in energy into the muscle makes that muscle stronger, and you seem to be able to lift a heavier weight. That's the basis for the research that the gyms are set up on. And the idea there, as I said to you last week, was that if then you release that energy into the muscle and you find that you're stronger, that you can lift a heavier weight, which causes a greater release of growth hormone into the body. And as a consequence of that, you burn fat for energy, but you also hold on to your lean tissue or your muscle. That's a very important part of the training, because the biggest problem that people face if they train without that growth hormone release is that they will lose muscle and they will lose some fat. And if they lose the muscle, then the structure of the body is deteriorating. And that's when, if people have a lot of weight to lose, they end up with skin fold and a lot of skin, excess skin at the end, and that becomes very difficult to deal with. Whereas in the system that we operate in the gym, you will find that if you focus on the muscle, you release that energy, you're able to lift a heavier weight in a shorter amount of time, you release the growth hormone, which burns the fat and then holds on to and even increases your lean tissue. And that causes the skin to, as it goes along, to actually tighten up and tighten up and tighten up. And so you find that even if you have to lose quite a substantial amount of weight, your skin tone remains firm all the way through. And that's very important if you're trying to train and lose a lot of weight. Plus, as well, as you are growing older, you will find that your organs in your body are diminishing in size. They actually shrink, and their function is affected negatively. So when you train in the manner I've spoken about, you will find that floods the body with this energy, okay? And it floods the organs with that energy as well. And this recharges all of the vital organs within the body. And as you train and as you release growth hormone, and it burns the fat for energy and it increases the muscle tissue, it also grows the organs that have shrunk. Now, it makes that system then probably the only system around that reverses that mechanism, which they call aging, which is pretty amazing. So that's how it affects the gym training. And when you focus all of your attention on something, you will find there's always a release of energy into the muscle or into the project that you're involved in or into the relationship that you're involved in. So if you take that a step further then and you look at the mechanism of relaxation, you're doing exactly the same thing. You're paying attention to the mechanism or process of relaxation to the exclusion of everything else. You may have other things going on in your life. You may have gone into the room to relax and left, all sorts of problems at the door, and that's where they should be, outside the door. And you go in and you pay attention to the mechanism of relaxation. Now, as soon as you do that and you become familiar with the relaxation and you practice it for a little while, you will find that almost as soon as you come in through the door and you get into the mindset of doing the relaxation, you can feel an increase in energy, a flood of energy running through the body, because you've already started letting go of the various stresses that you would be carrying around on a day-to-day basis. So you're in the relaxation then, you are allowing that increase of energy, which is your own life force inside coming to the surface, which has normally been suppressed by the stresses that you're under. So now it's freed out. So you take your system, we guide you through the relaxation technique and you relax each part of the body. And as you do, that frees out that part of the body and there's a flood of energy into that. It feels sometimes like a heat or a tingling sensation. Mm-hmm. And just an increase of energy. And that energy is, if you like, what you are minus all the programs that you normally carry around. So you're freeing yourself out. You are bringing yourself to a situation where you are gaining a greater expression for your true nature or your real state. That's, you're getting a chance to let it gain expression. Whereas normally, if you're very stressed, you will find that you're just running programs continuously in your mind, which are the usual things that stress people out. They may have problems with the situation, with say what's going on at the moment in COVID, and maybe their job is affected, maybe their relationship is affected, and so on and so on. So people get very stressed out about these things, and they find that their energy, whenever is a left over, if you like, is drawn into, if you're giving all of those stresses life.
Yeah.
So in the relaxation, you are removing the energy, if you like, from those problems, and you are releasing that energy into the body and into the mind, and the movement of that energy through the body and through the mind balances everything out.
Yeah.
Brings out a balance within the body, and that balance is what we would call health. It's health of the mind and it's health of the body. So the relaxation then would be like the training in the gym, where you pay absolute attention to a muscle, and that releases an energy into that muscle and allows it to function differently. When you do the relaxation, you pay attention entirely to the relaxation, which then allows that energy to be released in a very large way. And you then start becoming familiar, if you like, with the nature of that energy. So you're introducing yourself to, or becoming introduced to what your true nature actually is. That energy, as it comes through the body, becomes very, very. It has a tremendously balancing effect on the body. And if we spoke about last week, if I was actually doing work with somebody from a healing point of view, on that end, what you're always trying to do from a healing point of view is to get the person to such a level of relaxation that energy floods the body and floods them. So that if it's a mental problem they're dealing with, as it moves into the mind, it creates a balance in the mind. If it's a physical problem, it just moves right through the organs that are affected and floods into every single cell. And the cells, as it moves through the cell, it has a pattern of perfection in it. And that pattern is kind of imprinted on the cells. And as that actually happens, then the cells start returning to health again. That's probably the most dramatic way to change a person's health. I spoke last week about the idea that when I was involved in the therapy end of things, I changed everybody's diet as well. And everybody was on a different diet. They were on a specific diet from a healing point of view. And they did the relaxation. And we did this energy. And part of my job, believe it or not, was to be able to relax to such a level that my energy would become so strong that it would go out to them. And a lot of people would say, well, as soon as you did the relaxation, I could feel this massive surge of energy moving out towards me. So you're recharging, rebooting that person's physical structure and mental structure to bring it back into health again.
Yeah, wow.
Every relaxation session is designed to release more of that person's life force, which has an actual pattern of health and well-being printed into it. It's its function. It doesn't suffer from stress, if you know what I mean. Most people, they've learned stress. That's a learned situation, but your own energy inside doesn't suffer from that. So all you're doing is taking away what covers it over, and you're letting it out to the surface. And as it moves through the body, then it imprints itself on the cells within the body, which basically is called healing, where you're learning then the more relaxed you become, the stronger the amount of energy that you feel and experience.
It's like re-energizing.
It is like rebooting
Yeah.
a system that has gone offside and
Off
that's not
kilter.
really
Yeah.
properly, yeah. And you are rebooting the whole system basically and recharging. You're completely recharging the person's system.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm fond of the relaxation, because I suppose, I mean, we mention it most times. A lot of people would attend a seminar and they would want to learn how they operate as a person, and they would spend 10 days with us in the pursuit of that.
Yeah.
Now, all I'm telling you is, look, in the meantime, if you want to make a difference to how you feel physically and mentally, just to the point of maybe not becoming too unwell, or if you are having a problem in that area, that it can certainly make a big difference to how you feel, then the relaxation can be very useful.
Yeah.
Without necessarily going into any more detail about it, it's a kind of a funny thing that, in a way, if you do the relaxation, the energy as it passes through you and brings you back into equilibrium again, it kind of educates you on its own as well. You get to kind of get understandings of how you operate. Now, so the idea basically is that we would be doing a form of relaxation that allows the person to some degree anyway, take charge of maybe circumstances that they find difficult to deal with.
Yeah. Or
From,
challenging.
you know, so that's the basic idea of the relaxation there. So every time that I guide you through the mechanism from your feet right through to the head and all through the rest of the body, what we're doing there is we're getting you to focus on something other than what you normally focus on. It's as simple as that. Now, if you sit there and you find that you're distracted and your mind will go everywhere except on the instructions, if you like, well, you will find that the relaxation is of limited value. Now, I wouldn't give up because of that. I would say to you, look, you've spent, say, 20 minutes in a state of relaxation, but your mind won't shut down. That's not unusual, because it's been given free rein up till now, and you've never told it to shut up. So now you're saying, be quiet, I'm busy here. And it's going to go, no, I've got stuff to do, and I'm very excited about this, or I'm very worried about that, and so on. So as you practice, and if you practice maybe once or twice a day, you will find that you get better at it.
Yeah.
And it's like if the mind gets the impression from you that you're going to persist with this no matter what it does, it eventually says, I'll just I let your man get, or that lady or that guy get on with what he's actually doing. And so the thoughts leave you alone after a while. But you have to kind of persist, you see, because you've never taken charge. It's a bit like dealing with somebody who is, I don't know if you've ever maybe, talked to maybe a child, somebody has spoiled rotten, and you can't get a word in, and you can't get them to do anything that you ask them to do. Most people's minds are like that. You're not controlling it in any shape or form, so it's running all over the shop.
Yeah, it can almost be it almost can be, my experience of it can be maybe sometimes a little bit worse at the beginning, because you're suddenly aware of the thoughts which you weren't really that aware of before, and then when you start to take control of it, it can be a bit of a shock initially. So you just have to, like you said, you do have to persist with it.
Oh, well, this is it, and
it's worth it.
If you could do it without any form of instruction and so on, well, we'd all be doing it.
Yeah.
It's just that people just don't understand the mechanism of the mind. So therefore, it's like anything else. You just have to find out and learn. That's the whole kind of idea of what we do. We're just really giving people just a little insight into the value of being able to unplug the stresses for a period of time. And the major thing that happens is that you release that energy. And that has a very, very positive effect on you physically and mentally.
Yeah.
That's the main band, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting because we were looking at some research during the week with regards to the gyms and the idea that as you get older, you experience that muscle loss, which is called sarcopenia. And they were saying in the studies that how important it is to do that form of resistance based exercise, doing weight training, but doing it in an intense, focused approach. And certainly from what we can see when we're training people and they train with that level, and from the research study that Tony did originally, so over the 12 days that people gained on average 3 pounds of lean tissue over 12 days. And when you look at what people lose on average, they lose on average about a half a pound a year after the age of 30. So adding back the muscle, and the key part, obviously, as we've said before, was this developing their levels of attention and understanding how to pay attention and focus. And you get a taste of it, I think, with doing the relaxation. You certainly start to quieten the mind so that you find it's easier to pay attention and to focus. But I think doing the seminar makes such a difference because you really learn about the value of attention. You understand how it plays with how it works or assists your mind. And I think that the 10 days you do on that, the education you get, which is, wow, it's just incredible. And you have to really learn it and then to suddenly get that actual understanding so that you do it, I think, makes such a difference, doesn't it?
Well, it's similar to the idea that if you went into the gym, and this can happen in a lot of gyms, and unless you know what you're doing, nobody's going to show you.
Yeah.
So when you go along to the Duco gym, they're obviously, it's like personal training. So there's somebody on site every time that you show up, and they're taking you through the routine. So you're learning the mechanism of training in the proper manner. So that can take a period of time. So you're learning how to use your mind and train, and how to free out that energy and to train then by releasing the growth hormone. So it's a whole mechanism that takes a certain amount of time to learn. For people who do a seminar, they are people who have an interest in understanding how they operate as a person, as a human being. So they want to, for the sake of getting the most out of themselves, they want to know how they work. And that makes sense to me. I can never quite understand why people aren't fascinated by how they operate, so that they get more out of themselves. And that situation they're put into then, that allows them master that situation because they understand the mechanism involved and they can participate in it in a different way. Whereas if you're stressed out all the time, you're approaching every situation in that state of mind, and it's not that difficult to understand why it doesn't really work out.
Yeah, if anybody's interested in learning more about the seminar and maybe finding out about other people's experiences, you can obviously visit ducoworld.com, or you can email us at info@ducogym.com if you have an interest in that area, and we'd be delighted to talk to you. So Tom, will we proceed to the relaxation then?
Yeah, I think that each week we will just talk a little bit about what we're trying to achieve. And each week we will have a look at maybe a different aspect of it, with a view basically to allowing you to go into a deeper level of relaxation and getting more out of each session. And that's really what that's about.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Great.
You can
take it away.
Yeah. All right. All right. So if everybody is ready, what I suggest you do then is that you, if you're stretching out on the ground, or if you're stretching out on the bed, I want you to just, your hands are by your sides, the palms of your hands are facing upwards. Your feet fall off to each side, and you tuck your chin in a little bit. Don't have your head falling back, in other words, just tuck your chin in a bit. Now, if you're seated, your feet are flat on the ground anyway. That's good. And your hands are on your lap. The palms of your hands are facing upwards. That's good. And just lean back into the chair. Leaning back into the chair. That's good. That's good. Now, as we're going through the relaxation mechanism, okay, where I'm guiding you through from your feet along to the head and so on, and if you notice that sometimes thoughts come in and out, don't pay any attention to them. Just bring your attention back to what I'm saying to you. So it's not a big deal that the mind wanders a little bit. Just don't continue with the wandering. Just gently bring it back to what you're actually doing. Because let's face it, it's only a 20-minute relaxation session, and you can always pursue those thoughts when you're finished. So there's no big deal. It's not going to disappear altogether for you. All right. Now you're just letting yourself relax completely. You're stretched out on the ground or in the bed, or you're sitting in the chair. And you'll notice that this is our third session of this group of relaxations. And you'll find that if you've practiced a little bit during the week and you're now coming along to practice again, that you find it easier and easier and easier to get into the relaxation. In fact, almost as soon as we start talking in the relaxation itself, you start to notice that you feel an energy, like in your hands or in your feet, or moving up and down through the body. And that's because the body and the mind is starting to relax automatically, because we're becoming used to the idea of letting go of everything to the exclusion of, any other problems or anything that we would normally have to face. And we're just staying with this relaxation itself for the moment. All right. If you can just bring your attention now down to your feet. Let go of any tightness or tension in your feet now. Just let it go completely. Now you'll notice that it's like that you become aware of the millions of cells in your feet. It's a strange way of looking at it, but as you're letting the whole thing relax, it's like there's like a tingling energy in the feet, and it's like all of the cells in the feet are picking the energy up. So it's kind of like running through all those cells. That's really good. Bring your attention now to the calves. Letting go of any tightness or tension in your calves. Let it go completely. That's really good now. Just let go of any tightness or tension there. Again, you'll notice that it's like an energy is released into the calves. As they relax, you can feel a kind of a sensation of energy moving through the cells. Now, sometimes it's like a heat. It's like a build-up of heat as the energy is released through the cells. And bring your attention to your thighs. Letting go of any tightness or tension you feel in the thighs. Just let it go completely. Very good. Bring your attention now to your hips. Letting go of any tightness or tension in the hips now. Just let it go now. And you will notice that people are different in the sense that they hold different parts of the body tight. And often it's only when you come to letting go of the tension in those areas that you realize that certain parts are tenser than others. So just let go of all that tightness and tension now from the hips. Bring your attention now to the base of your spine. Let go of any tightness or tension there. And now you're moving your attention up along the spine now. And each vertebrae, you're letting go of all the tension in each vertebrae, moving it up along. And you'll notice that as you are letting go of all the tension, that your back just kind of sinks into the ground. Sinking right down into the ground. That's brilliant. Or into the bed, or into the back of the chair. That's it, letting go of all the tightness and tension right up along the spine. Very good. That's marvelous, yeah. Right up along the spine, that's brilliant. Let go of any tightness or tension now in the back of your neck. Bring your attention now to the back of your head, letting go of any tightness or tension there. Sometimes people find that they are amazed that they hold their neck and their head quite tight, and they're quite fascinated by the fact that they can actually, as they let go, feel a huge release of tension out of those areas, which is marvelous. Let go of any tightness or tension in the top of your head. And bring your attention out to the forehead. You're letting go of any tightness or tension in the forehead. It's brilliant. It's just getting smoother and smoother now. Smoother and smoother now. Bring your attention now down to your eyes. And your eyes are just gently closed now. And letting go of any tightness or tension you feel there. And bring your attention to your mouth and along your jawline. And again, that's an area that people often hold very tight and they don't realize it. So just let go of any tightness. Sometimes that means that your mouth will open a little bit, and that's fine. Any tightness or tension in your neck, again, an area that you can hold very tight. Just let that go completely as well. Bring your attention now down to your shoulders. This is definitely an area that you can often hold very tight, so just let it go. Relax it now completely. Then relax the shoulder area now. And down along your arms and down into your hands. That's great. Now, often when you pay attention to your hands, you can actually feel the energy quite strongly in your hands. It's like a ball of energy in both hands. Sometimes, actually, when you're in the relaxation and you go in quite deeply, you can see it in your mind's eye. It's like a gold energy, white or gold energy. It's quite amazing when you actually are able to experience it like that, where it's like in your mind's eye, you can actually see the energy in your hands. Bring your attention now up to your chest, any tightness or tension there. Let it go now completely. That's brilliant. Bring your attention now down to your stomach. Now this is an area that you have a tendency to hold very tight. So let go of all the tightness and tension there. Let it go now completely. That's very good. Just letting it go now completely. Very good. You're moving even deeper now into relaxation. As you become more and more relaxed now, the circulation is freed out. It passes through the body now very smoothly and easily. Any of the tension or stress within the cells, within the organs, within the body, start to dissolve now, and that frees out the circulation, and it can carry all the nutrients that your body needs throughout the body now. That's fantastic. So that circulation now is reviving areas that have had maybe poor circulation for a period of time. It's carrying all the nutrients into those areas and freeing out all the cellular structures there now, and feeding those cellular structures with the nutrients that they need, increasing the power and the strength of the body. It's really great. It's great. Now bringing your attention back up to your head. And this time you'll find that as you're bringing your attention to your head, you can feel like an energy around the top of your head and even inside your head. It's like in your mind's eye, you can nearly see it. It gets very, very bright. And as you're looking at it now, it just sweeps down through the body, out through the soles of your feet, and out through the palms of your hands. So as it's doing that, it passes through every single cell in the brain and right through the rest of the body. And as it moves through those cells, the millions and millions of cells, it imprints that perfection on those cells. So if there's any distortion there, or if they've moved out of balance, it brings them right back into balance again. So as that passes through, it's like an electric current passing through, but the current has this ability to rearrange the structure of the cells and bring them back to perfection. That's fantastic. And you're dropping even to an even deeper level of relaxation. So that this relaxation session is probably the most beneficial thing you've done for quite a long time. So you can let yourself go back into the relaxation now and really rejoice in the idea that you are allowing that energy, that life force to pass right through the body unhindered, passing through every single cell, repairing all of those cells now. And you're moving deeper and deeper into relaxation, bringing our attention now back up to the head. At this time, that energy seems to be even stronger. And as you're looking at it, sweeps down through the body now, right through all the cells, out through the soles of your feet and out through the palms of your hands. And this time, it's even more intense. And in your mind's eye, you can see every single cell lighting up. And so there's millions and millions of cells all lighting up and all going together. And that light is passing right through the whole body. And then it moves out from you to everyone belonging to you and moves through them and out to everyone belonging to them. And that energy, because it has become so strong, is passing out into the whole world like a wave, like a tsunami of life and energy, like a gold wave of light passing out over the whole world. They're stronger and stronger and stronger now. Brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. That's absolutely brilliant. So obviously, it starts with you and that energy, your energy, moving through your body. It's like it's very intense with you. And that's what causes all these changes within the body and within the mind. And then it passes out from you, and its natural movement is to go out and help other people. It just goes on to everyone that you know, pass it through them and everyone that they know. And it just keeps on going out in a huge wave of light. That's the natural movement of your own life force inside. It's designed for unity, not designed for separation. It's designed for unity. So you're bringing your attention now back to the top of your head. This time that energy is very strong and very bright. And as you're looking at it now, it just sweeps down through the body. You can feel it surging through the body like liquid gold, passing through every single cell. And as it moves through the cells, they're jumping up and down for joy. They feel, oh my gosh, this is a fantastic situation where all this energy has been absolutely passed through the cells and brings them back to perfection. That's fantastic. And it moves through your hands and through the soles of your feet and out to everyone belonging to you, this time in a very strong wave of light, passing out through them and out to everyone belonging to them. And it just goes out and out and out and out into this huge wave of light, passing out over the whole world now, brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. And as that's happening, you can feel the energy just keeps coming out and coming out and coming out from you. And it's just building up and getting stronger and stronger and stronger as it passes through. And there's just no end to this. This will just keep going and getting stronger and stronger and stronger now, transforming you physically and mentally, and transforming everybody that it touches. And you move to an even deeper level of relaxation now, completely relaxed. That's fantastic. That's really, really good. Now just dropping deeper and deeper into relaxation. Very good. Very good. Now, every time you do the relaxation yourself, you'll move into an even deeper level, freeing out more and more of that energy. And as it intensifies, it has an even more dramatic effect on your overall health, both mental and physical health. And you will begin to then almost become familiar with the movement of your own life inside. And it has a purpose and a direction of its own. And that is specific to you, but also in unity with all of the energies throughout the world. That's fantastic. Now, as I count from 3 back up to 1, you will find yourself moving gently and easily back up to the surface. You're taking with you this experience, which will stay with you now until the next time you do the relaxation and until we meet again. That's fantastic. 3, gently now and easily moving right back up to the surface, feeling very, very relaxed and very well. 2, gently and easily moving right back up to the surface, feeling very relaxed and very, very well. That's very good. And as we reach 1 now, the eyes just opening, feeling very relaxed and feeling very, very well. 1. Eyes just opening now again. That's fantastic. Well done, everybody. That's really, really good.
Great. So I'm sure everybody is feeling energized after that. It's great when you get really into it and you can feel your energy coming up and you feel so much more relaxed. You almost feel lighter. Yeah. It makes such a difference.
I think you see as well, people may not understand how much they achieve during a relaxation session. Like It has a transforming effect, not just on them, but everyone that is associated with them, which is marvelous. It's brilliant.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, and why I wonder, would people understand it a bit further if you're explaining it maybe a little bit more as to why that happens? I mean, logically, obviously, if a person's not caught in heavy thoughts and they're more high energy, and thoughts, obviously, we know they vibrate, and so I mean, even very, very simple understanding, people might understand it's going to have an impact on people around them. But is there anything else
your frame of mind is completely different. So you feel much more relaxed in general, and that whole vibe, if you want to call it that, is projected to everyone around you. But from my point of view, I'm kind of fascinated by the fact that if you are able to relax at that level, there's a release of energy, and that energy has a transforming effect. And that kind of goes out and does its own work. It's almost like bad energy can do the same thing.
Yeah.
Wreaking havoc with everything and causing all sorts of disruptions and whatever. And the opposite is true of the energy from the person, their natural state. That has a very perfecting effect on everybody that it comes into contact with.
Yeah.
I like about it, I suppose. I think that people often wonder when they see things in the world that they would like to change, how could they do it? And I think this is one of the most effective ways, is to become, I suppose, a real person yourself. And that allows you then, you now have something to offer. I mean, you always had something to offer, but covered over to such a degree that it's difficult for you to access it. So therefore, maybe you can't offer it. But the relaxation frees it out and lets it out into the world. And then everybody has the benefit of that. And that's the part that I like the most, I suppose. And that's what people find when they do the seminar. They find that they, at long last, have learned how to express their true nature and how to be a real person. And that allows them, it just changes their whole lives, because their whole approach changes completely from that day on. And that's what I think is marvelous about it. I think it's really, really terrific.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we really appreciate that you take the time on a Thursday evening to do it for us. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think people really benefit from it, particularly now with so much going on in everybody's lives. It really does make such a difference.
Oh, I'm delighted to do it, Jamie. There's not a problem. No problem at all. I'm delighted. And I mean, hopefully, if the people listening in pay attention to the relaxation aspect of things, they will find it has a totally transforming effect on what we do. So that will be a win-win for everybody. It's just will be marvelous.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to hear from people as well if they are finding it to be of benefit, and please do share it. Encourage people to come along on Thursdays at 7:30 because it really would make such a difference. So thanks again, Tom, and thank you everybody. And if you have questions or anything, obviously you can fire them across. We can see them as they're coming up. Thank you very much everybody who's been leaving nice comments. It's great to hear from you, and I suppose we will leave it at that, and just over 45 minutes. Thanks, Tom.
No problem, guys. See you soon.
Great. Thank you, everybody. We will see you soon, exactly next Thursday. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye.